Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't done so, why don't you hit the subscribe button for us? It really does help us out. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a Nintendo Switch that had an issue with connecting with the JoyCon. After taking a peek inside of it, we realized that the connector in the slide rail had been damaged, probably from somebody trying to hack the system. So we decided the most simple thing to do is just replace the part. So if you stick around, we'll show you how to get that done. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today on the bench we have another Nintendo Switch. This one came to us because the owner said the Joy-Cons, one of the Joy-Cons I think, weren't connecting when you clipped them into the rails. They said they work fine wirelessly, but they weren't connecting, so they weren't charging. They only gave me the console, so I have my own personal set of Joy-Cons here with some Zelda caps on them. But let's go ahead and plug this in because I don't know the state of the charge yet. To be honest with you, I haven't even really looked at it yet. So let's plug it in, just make sure it's can come to life. Yeah, it was pretty dead. We may need to give it a few minutes before it comes back on. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I gave this a few minutes to charge up and we should be good now. There we go, Nintendo splash screen. Okay, so it's asking us right away to put these in. All right, this side definitely gave us the click. Turn the volume back up. Nothing. And there is a battery charged in this one. So, and I know these are good because, like I said, they're my own personal set. So, obviously something's wrong with the connector on the right side. All right, just verify this one again. Yes, and we got the connect and the disconnect from that side. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn this off the whole way because we're gonna have to get into it. And, well, I was gonna say, let's do a quick visual inspection. And I was gonna look inside the port. But as you can see here, the side is nice and pristine and clean and looks like it should. And this side is all scratched up and scraped and even down inside. So, okay, I'm going to make an assumption here. In the Nintendo hacking community, the processor is known to be able to be unlocked or to go into service mode, and Nintendo actually made a key that snaps down in here to let their technicians get into service mode. That also unlocks the processor to load other software. And what I'm guessing is somebody sat and fiddled with a paperclip trying to make those connections. The problem is there's data connections, but there's also power, there's charge. And doing that can, just wipe out the charge circuit inside this board. So I'm guessing that, the plug inside here is just messed up. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this apart and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Once again, I didn't think you guys wanted to see, taking out a dozen screws or whatever it is these days. Well, actually I have to count that. It's probably closer to 20. But as you know, to get the back off, you have the 4 tri-wings, you have 2 Phillips, 1 Phillips, and then a Phillips on either end. The back comes, and a Phillips under the kickstand. The back comes off. And then the shielding, there's just Phillips around. There's 1 Phillips holding in our SD card reader, and it just pulls up out of the connector. And then we're into the back of this. Now, this connector here is the one we're going to deal with to get this rail off. And it just opens from the back. Sorry, my head's always in the shot. It opens from the back and it pulls out like that. It's really pretty simple to get into. Okay, now, but what we need to do, need a screwdriver that we can put some pressure on. We got to get these other 4 Phillips screws out. And they're machine thread into the aluminum body. And there's usually thread locker on them. So if you don't put some downward force on them when you first start to twist, you just wind up tearing the tops off. So when you do this, make sure that you use a screwdriver that really fits and one that you can put a little pressure on. Now, once that's apart, we'll just set that there for now. Once it's apart, you know, these screws go in and out a lot easier. We're just gonna set those ones aside. And knowing that this was already a problem, where'd it go? There it is. I grabbed another one off of a donor system. But what I'd like to do, we can actually push out the pin. So here's our rail and the connector's inside. But once this is off, you can push this pin out. Huh, the pin may be stuck. Push it out the other way. There it goes. Yeah, they've really got this bent. There's the pin. Here's our connector. Oh, jeez. Okay. I don't even think I need the microscope out. And I will, you know what, I'll get one single picture to just post right here as an overshot. But I mean, you can just see these connections are just, all these pins should be nice and flat up here, and they're just smashed down here. And this is what happens when you try to unlock your switch and you use some of the not so savory methods that are out on the internet. I don't condone pirating, but I also don't agree with locking down a system. You know, we paid for the hardware. We should be able to do what we want with it. But there are other methods to do this. One of them is there's a lot of 3D print models available, like on Thingiverse or wherever, and then you take, you know, a cut-off leg from, you know, a capacitor or something, and you twist it in, where you're using a thin piece of wire that can get in there and a 3D printed holder that aligns everything. Now, we gotta hope that this didn't cause any other charge issues. And I don't believe it did, because obviously we plugged it in and it started charging. So I'm gonna set that there. And you know, this goes on basically the way it came off. The ribbon cable doesn't have to be fed anywhere special other than, you know, kind of goes behind that screw. Let's just go ahead and put that rail on and put our screws back in. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 of these screws in, and we'll get the ribbon cable on and we'll check it, because I have a feeling there won't be any other damage. Like I said, this ribbon cable just tucks behind this screw. Make sure our gate's up. It's a little fiddly to get it in place, but it'll go. And this connector isn't near as fragile as like our video cable and our touchscreen cable. Just as an FYI, I wind up changing these connectors all the time for people who have tried to service the system. There's really no issues with them, but they're thin, they're fragile. And this ribbon's kind of long, and if you get a bow in the ribbon and you push it in, you can actually bend the pins inside of them pretty easy. So you've got to be very careful to make sure it's flat. So that's all I'm going to do right now. And I'm going to throw a little piece of paper towel just so we don't get heat sink compound all over the mat, because for some reason it just does not want to come out of the silicone. I'll go ahead and fire it back up. And this one probably should still work, which it does. And I bet you this one's going to work now. And it does. And it gets us into our regular boot screen. Looks like this one had been reset, obviously for the sale. Anyway, that was a pretty simple one. But it just goes to show, you know, what kind of damage can be done when you're not paying attention to what you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this one up off camera. And I appreciate everybody who watches my videos. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Make any comments down below on anything that you may want to know about, even if it's not Switch related. But I think that wraps it up for now, and I think we'll have a happy customer. I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks.